Okay, so today we have Cheetah Haysom from New York City, who is also an alum of UKZN, and she is going to be telling us a little bit about her experience at the university. And so we have a few questions prepared. So Cheetah, do you want to tell us the year you've started at UKZN first?
Yes, I started in 1966. As soon as I left high school, I matriculated and went to UKZN, and I was very lucky because it was a time when not all my girlfriends from school actually went to college. So
Wow.
I was only a handful from my generation who did, and I went to UKZN. At the time, it was the Durban campus, Natal University in Durban, because honestly, it was so close. It was only, a 20-minute drive, and I could get there every day, and it was perfect for me.
Okay, so what did you study at UKZN? What was your undergrad and maybe postgrad?
Well, there were a number of lawyers in my family. My grandfather was a judge, and so law was very prominent. Both my brothers became lawyers thanks to UKZN. And so I didn't know whether I wanted to be a lawyer. Not many women were lawyers at the time, I can tell you. Or a journalist. I liked writing. And so I did a BA with two majors in English and in Roman law, which was the basis of law in South Africa at the time. And it was absolutely fascinating. I never regretted it for a minute. The classes were great. Everything was really top-notch. I did not do a postgraduate degree after I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
I went straight and got a job, and I didn't go into law. I went into journalism. So.
Okay. What year, just so that we have the years right, what year did you graduate and leave? So the reason for asking this is so that when other people who went to UKZN at the same time, they would be able to relate to having been there over that period of time.
I was there 66, 67, 68. When I was writing my majors, I got ill, so I didn't write one exam. I wrote it when I was better, so I actually graduated in 69.
Okay.
A year later, but
Okay.
That was my generation, and it was a really interesting time. NewSAS was very active at the time on the campus. And
Okay.
so we were. I'm afraid, academically, I didn't. I didn't get the highest grades because I was very much involved in political activity.
And now in hindsight, do you think getting the highest grades is of utmost importance, or is it something that you did as well as you could have and you still managed to become successful in life?
The highest grades is not always the most important thing. I think it's what you study and what you learn. And I did learn an enormous amount about my country and about people and about what you can and cannot do, what's right and wrong, apart from the academics. Some of my friends weren't involved in other things, and they did get higher grades, and they did very well too. So I can't disparage getting high grades.
Yep.
I do think studying is very important. High grades helps.
Definitely.
But there's a lot you can learn at university.
Yep, I definitely agree. So how do you think then was your years, if you could sum up in a quick sentence, like those 3 years that you were there, how would you summarize it into one sentence about how looking back makes you feel today?
Oh, it was profoundly enriching. But it was partly because it was a very varied university. There were a lot of different academic institutions there, so you could do engineering and law and this and that. But course, so many interesting people, but for me, one of the most important things was, part of it was academics and part of it was being able to get involved so much in what was going on in the country at the time. And I learned so much. It changed my life, really, from being a sort of, somebody from a somewhat privileged family. I learned at that university so much. It was, at the time, almost entirely white. As you know, everything was separated. But one of the great chums that I remember was a fellow who was an Indian, and I can't remember why, but he's quite famous. His name is Rogers Raghavan, and Rogers really taught me so much about what was going on in the country on another level. I was very blessed.
Right. Obviously, because he was able to experience it from an Indian perspective, being Indian and being in South Africa.
That's right.
And he was able to share that with you.
Yes, that's right. We were unfortunately deprived of the university companionship of all the people who would have taught us so much if we had been a completely multiracial university. And I guess that's why they separated us.
Well, lucky for us, that's a
Long
thing of the
gone.
past. Yes. How did, once you left UKZN, did you get back in touch? Did you ever look back to connect with them? Did they reach out to you? How was your journey after leaving?
It's rather sad in a way, but I left Durban immediately that I graduated. I went to Cape Town, got a job, and lived in Cape Town, and I didn't come back to Durban for a long time. When I did, my only connection was through my siblings, my sister Lou, my brother Nicholas Frank is his name, and my brother Simon, who all went to UKZN, different parts of the university. And that was my connection. But I never really got involved in the camp, or in the life of the university, ironically, until 5 years ago in New York, when Anesh Singh came here and had a function, and I thought, hey, I must go. And that's when I reconnected with the university, which of course is so much part of my family's life.
Yep, definitely. And were you surprised to see how they had grown and how it had developed, and what was your experience in finding out its new name?
Well, I felt a little isolated because it had changed so much. There was not just the new name, but it was now, amalgamation of all the universities, and I didn't know if it was anything I could identify with anymore. I couldn't picture it. That's really the biggest problem. But I started to pay attention, and I realized in so many ways it was a fantastic institution. Big, from 3,000 at my campus to 47 or 48,000 as a larger university. But I just honestly thought this is one of the most important things. What's happened is so important. So I connected with it, and I'm hoping that all the other people who benefited from the separate campuses are understanding of this as a new major institution and connect.
Yep, definitely. So this has resulted in you becoming an ambassador for the UKZN here in New York City. How do you feel about that, and how passionate are you about making change?
Well, I'm obviously honoured, and I hope I can fulfil all the honours that the sort of sense of trust placed in me. I would love to. I think it's a very important thing. There are many people in this country who benefited, who went to these various institutions that are now UKZN, and I think it's really important to connect them all. It would be so great if we can just do something to get all these people to understand. Here is one of the best ways you can ever repay education is so important, and this is a great institution. I've been so thrilled to learn that it's actually done very well in many ways. It's one of the top research institutions, academic institutions in the Southern Hemisphere. It's got so many, credentials that I would really like people to know, so they can connect again, have a sense that here is one of the most important ways you can ever repay what you got as a student, as a South African.
Yeah, definitely. So any last words that you probably want anyone watching this to kind of resonate with how you feel about the university, or what you think you foresee? Just a quick summary of how you see the university remaining successful, or what does the university need in order to?
Well, my sense is, you've got economic issues in South Africa, and you look at the exchange rate, just a small amount of money from here can make a huge difference. And I know how hard it is in this country. So many students struggle. In South Africa, where education is so important, I just think everybody who has any care or connection or concern, do something. And maybe the biggest thing is contributing to the cost of books, because books are so expensive. And there are people who are struggling to feed themselves and take care of their families. Now they've got to buy a book that costs something like $36. Well, in rands, that's just outrageous. And some of the libraries, if you can just help fund the libraries so they can stock the books, that I think would be so helpful, just apart from, thinking about the livelihood and the well-being of the students. But I think books is a major thing, because it's not just South Africa, it's here in the United States.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Cheetah, for your time, and we hope that we, get to see a lot more FaceTime from you, and obviously see results from everyone's work in going to make this a better opportunity for the students in UKZN.
Well, I hope it helps.
Thank you.
Thank